Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to our Tuesday healing yoga class with Element 3 Health. We've been doing these on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time for about an hour, but we start with about 10 to 15 minutes of a check-in process for the people in real time. So if you're following along on the video, please feel free to join us if you can at the time, and we do a check-in to personalize the practice. I find that in healing yoga, that is a better way to honor yourself. Gentle reminder that we are all practicing together. I happen to play the role of speaking, but please let me know what's going on for you. This is not like a drill or like a disciplined thing I like to lead. It's more of an exploration, holding space to listen to the vital force, any communication within. And we know sometimes that I am always like light, love, compassion, that's a lot of my sharing. But we know that that does not always feel that way. And I know that it does not always feel that way. So keep that in mind. It may be emotional things, it may be spiritual things, it may be painful sensations. I have a swollen arm right now. So we hold space for that too, if you're comfortable with it. I don't talk about this a lot and it just kind of came out. So let's start. We have an intention of focusing on the hips and low back zone. So we'll be there a lot today. Let's start there now. Comfortable seat, whether you have props underneath the sit bones or you're sitting on a chair. And you can do cross-legged seat, let the knees go down. It's helpful to lift the hips above the knees to help release and open the outer hip, as well as the inner. Let the arm bones hang out on the sides of the rib cage. You can see the difference in my tension. I carry this a lot like this, and we're just gonna try to let them just hang loose and lift the heart, not from the arms, but from our beautiful ribs and diaphragm, lifting just gently up. And then press down into your sit bones below you. Nestle in, try to feel the right sit bone and then the left sit bone. And see if you're seated on them balanced. I know in my own practice, I'll be heavy on one side and then I have to really, okay, let me be even. Ground down through the sit bones, press out through the top of your head. Maybe your hands meet in prayer. I love to harmonize with some sort of prayer. Any prayer is welcome, what you may want to say in your mind or out loud. I'm going to chant 3 ohms. Feel free to chant 3 ohms. So you can play with the tone of that. And just in case anyone's forgotten or new to that practice of oming, simply om goes from the pelvis, which in yoga is our base, and everything else is just a manifestation from this root. And then it journeys up the sound vibration to the heart space, the chest that we were lifting gently. And then the at the end can sometimes be felt in the head. So that's just a journey up the spine from root to head with our om. Awesome. So if you're sitting like this, you may want to switch your legs, or maybe it feels better the way you have it, just offering that in. Let the arm bones go out to the side. Take your left arm to the side, right arm to the hip, and press down through the right hip and begin to slide, lengthening through the right side. Try to keep your head center and then make lines with the nose tip. because I'm talking while doing this, I'm really not informed very well. I watch these and it's like, wow. So I'm really sorry. It's hard for me to talk and not like weird my neck up, but I work on it. And then we come back to center, and then right arm out to the side, left arm to hip, press down through that hip, lengthen opposite. So I'm trying to keep my head in line with the heart, and then with your own consciousness, you can breathe into some rotation if it feels good. And then back to center, maybe side A one more time, and maybe you press down through the right, lengthen out through the right arm behind the ear. Maybe lines with the nose tip side to side. And then center. You do not have to go very far. Know that you can just do a little movement like this and it feels great. Side B, second time, maybe left arm goes back behind the ear. And I invite you to feel the left hip, the left side ribs, and the area in between lengthening. And back through center. Ground down through your base. Let's take the hands back behind us. Allow them to support the spine. So maybe we were kind of like this. Now we can be like this. Line with the nose tip up to your ability of what feels good. Take an inhale. Exhale, line with the nose tip down. Try not to dump weight in the hands. They're just gently planted as a reminder to lengthen. Inhales open, and exhales we're just going to fold down. Go with your own rhythm. All right, we're going to come back to a neutral zone. You can switch up the legs if you need to, just checking in with those. And let's take our hands interlaced back behind our head. The elbows go wide. And try to let the shoulder blades go down. It's a tendency, you know, when we're moving those arms to kind of do this, but see if you can find the heart still lifting, the abdomen still lifting. And then same thing, inhale, open your heart space, curve the low back gently to your ability of feeling good. Exhale, round the whole spine. And I invite you just kind of like a butterfly, like opening and closing its wings, just open and close with the breath. You can let the arms down if this is for any reason just not helping you to be aware of this movement. Long, deep breath cycles here. We're just going right into the breath. And then hang out with your head down, elbows down. Breathe into the back of the spine. And if I'm ever not doing a pose, it's just me trying to check in with the computer part of things and talking. But it doesn't mean you have to just do me like sitting here like this. I just want to say that. So what we'll do next is continue the breath. And I think maybe arms down, unless you really liked them, you can switch the interlace of the fingertips to work both sides of the neurons in the brain. And we'll do something similar, but I'll offer in Bhastrika, which is our forceful breaths, the clearing of the respiratory nasals down to the lungs. So that's the I'm being dramatic for recording, but you can be as soft or as forceful as feels good for your body this morning. Maybe you do the hands interlaced and same motion. Inhale, exhale. And then once you've done a few rounds, I'm going to invite you to just take one last fold forward. The arms can come forward, the chest and head, and then just let it go forward to what feels good. It may just be this. Take a few big breaths into the back body and feel the wave of the breath riding the spine from the tailbone to the head. We want to tap into this fluidity for the lymph work we talked about in the check-in, and for just feeling the fluid water body, that connectivity between feet to hands to head. So we'll come back upright. Let's stretch out the legs before we move on. You might want to stay with your hips on a prop or not and take the legs forward. You may even want something underneath the knees if that feels good to lift. Hands can go alongside of the hips and the elbows back, or gently pressing into the palms and elbows along you to find that lengthening of the spine. And we look for that natural curve. You know, the spine has these natural curves within it, so we try to feel them to their fullest with the breath. Let's think of our pelvic floor. There's this connective tissue lining the pelvis, about 8 muscles. Gently between the thighs, pull that area up towards your heart without really moving much. You just feel this engagement near the sit bone. And then the navel draws back to the spine and up towards the heart, flying upward near the diaphragm. Those are our first 2 locks, part of our true core in healing yoga. Pelvic floor and navel. So feel those subtle engagements here. And you may feel like without moving, you just kind of like hugged in. That's like a good way to maybe feel it or describe it. And then your chin is towards your heart and you're reaching out through your head, and that third chin is the third lock in yoga. So then anatomically, with the bones, we feel the pelvic bowl with the ribs over it, with the skull over the rib. Take a few inhales and exhales through the nose, feeling these engagements here. Awesome. So let's keep our legs like this. And if you're having any sensations in the low back right now, we will go, you know, it just came to me. We're going to come back to this. We're going to go down onto the back and then we'll come back to what we're doing. So let's get into the low back first to hopefully soothe anything there, and then we'll come back up to seated. So bend the legs, press down through the feet, tone the legs into the pelvis, hug your front body to your back body so you're supported lowering. Take the arms out to a T, and the knees go wide, side to side, windshield wipers. Just visualizing the longest bone in our body, the femur, rotating side to side in the pelvis. And we talked about this connection point being where one of the 4 main lymph nodes are. 2 near the hips and 2 near the arm bone where they meet the chest. And then begin to come to some stillness, knees in line with the hips, arms on the low belly or hands on the low belly and the heart, and take big breaths. Visualize nostrils on the chest. You could fill the chest so much. Big, expansive, fluid breath cycles. Really enjoy this. Your whole spine is supported by the earth element, and it feels great, I hope, so that you have the pelvic bowl, the ribs, and the skull in a nice line. Take one more deep, expansive breath rhythm. Longer exhale, maybe. And then hug the knees in, big hug into the chest. Positive statement like, I am whole, I am connected. Big exhale. Keep the left knee in, extend the right, still big exhale. Let the left knee cross over the body to the right side. Big twist for the spine and the low back. Maybe you look towards the left and you can do a horse breath, letting the breath flow out through the mouth like extremely calming for the vagus nerve to get us into the calming that nerve to allow us into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest one, where we can observe and metabolize and really process what is going on within us and all that we've not processed in the past and all that is yet to come in the processing realms in the future. We hold space for this. We come back through center. Whew, big hug in again, positive affirmation. I am connected. Anything you're working with. Big exhale. Feel this in the hips. Feel this in the low back. And then extend the left leg. Keep the right knee in. Another big exhale. Right knee crosses over left. Long twist here on the floor. Maybe you look right. Feel this in the pelvis and the low back, part of our focus for today. And then we'll come back through center, plant those feet down to the earth, tee up the arms, just so you can feel the shoulder blades separate. And you can feel the back of your heart depress towards the earth. From that opening in the middle of your upper back, take the hands interlaced behind the head. Press down through the feet, strong legs here, without moving the legs, and bring the knees isometrically. That's what that means, without moving. Bring them together. So you just feel tone and you feel the pelvic floor engage and the navel engage. And inhale, lift the head and chest. Feel the low ribs, the low middle back down. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, low ribs down. Let it go. Do this a few times. You'll start to feel the core warm, the center of you warm. It's like little push-ups, but I'm really hesitant to call them that because they're not that. And at least in my mind's eye, what I was taught with a push-up, we're really taking this way deeper into the body and to another realm. So hopefully you can feel that within yourself as well. And then what we can do is take the arms and robot alongside of you with the elbows down or to the earth. And we'll do these bridges, strong legs, strong pelvic floor, abdomen. The chin stays following the heart so that there's no weight on the curve of the neck and that the head is just supporting itself to the earth. Inhale, strong legs, the glutes lift the pelvis and the pelvic floor. Inhale to a bridge and exhale to lower. Go nice and slow with your breath, just like that butterfly kind of pulse we were doing. Inhale with the breath, exhale to lower, timing the rhythm with your breath and movement. Always welcome to come to audible exhales and then make your way back to breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale, extra slow lowering. So now we lower the back heart, the low ribs we were just focusing on, the low back, and the sacrum, really slow. Do that a few times. Inhale to lift one and exhale real slow. Inhale. Exhale. Make sure you're collecting from the feet, through the knees, through the pelvis, the glutes, to all of those core engagements we're talking about. Last one. Feel the heart, the rib, the low back, and the pelvis. Awesome. Tee out the arms, windshield wipers, side to side. Let's do one more twist here for the low back and for stimulating the spine. We'll bring the knees up to 90 degrees. Feel the pelvic bowl, feel the navel. Arms can stay out in a T. Use your length, your leg strength, and your abdomen to bring the legs over left. Another twist. Exhale. Just melt. Once you get to your twist, let yourself melt like an ice cube on a hot summer day. Speaking of which, happy summer pinnacle. So the sun shifts Thursday into the sign of Leo, and this is the height of our summer fire season. The sun is in its exaltation. It's already fire, and now it's in its most fiery element time of the year. So great time to transform and collect that fuel. And then we have a full moon on Friday. So inhale, bring your knees back to center. Long twist. We're going to do it the other way. Strong legs. Use your legs in your core. Over to the right. Feel this in the low back, spreading and opening. Inhale, bring yourself gathered back to neutral center. Let's come to L pose before we take away from this pose. And I'd like to invite in that you may want a prop. I'm using a blanket roll right now, but you can use a block or a pillow from your couch or your bed and take the legs up over the pelvis. And you can also do this against a wall. We've done that a good deal together. So you could take legs up against the wall. I'm going to have hands on low belly and heart just to feel the breath rhythms. Inhales, point the toes. Exhales, brings them towards you. So we talked about that lymph circulation. Here we are removing any stagnation from the ankles, and we'll work our way through the leg joint. Inhales and exhales. And now inhales, the toes go out. Exhales, the toes come in. This is coming from the ankles. Try to keep knees and hips stable. And then we'll make circles. Inhale the toes away. Exhale the toes towards from the ankle. If you're feeling any sensation that doesn't feel good in the low back, please lower the legs and take a moment and a pause, or get to legs up the wall. And go ahead and switch the circles of the toes and the ankles. The subtler the movements, the better in this work, really. It's not like, Pilates, electronic music stuff. It's really like subtle. And then the leg, we'll go to the knees now. So knees towards the glutes. And here's a little thing I've been working on. I've been teaching this for a year, actually more. Anyway, I've been teaching it and noticing for a year that my knees crack really a lot. So now I'm not letting it go to the crack, and I stop, and I'm going to come back up from there. So if you're having some sensation like that, I invite you to try pausing before that, and we'll strengthen the connective tissues before those. It's called crepitus, this like cracking. So it could look like that, or it could just be a little. Remember, through our healing yoga, the more subtle, the more you can actually stilly observe what's happening. And then the last one here is the legs open wide out to a V, and then they sweep in and close. So opening the insides of the legs. Exhales, knees kind of direct in and closing. And this is coming from the hips now. We moved from ankles to knees to hips. And we're going to wrap it up if you haven't already. Lower the legs. Take a moment. We're going to come up to seated again. Press down through the feet. You can even have the hands kind of catch near the legs. Gently lift up the head and shoulders and feel the low ribs press down, the core catch like we worked on. So literally that movement we were doing, this is us using it throughout the day. Like, you know how they say, oh, math, how do you use it in real life? Whatever. And then they prove to you how you use it. This is us. We did something isolated, and now we're going to use it to get up off the floor nicely. So we use our core, hug our front body and our back body to lift up and support ourselves. You may want something underneath the sit bones, just offering that out there. And let's get those legs out straight. Another thing, I said it already, but want to show it, you can put something under the knees. It can feel great. So hands along the hips, think of the pelvic floor rising, the navel back and up, and the heart with the chin directed down towards it. Reach out through the crown of your head. Pull the toes back towards you. Feel a nice stretch through the back of the leg. Beautiful. So we're going to start with some twists here. Let's hug the left knee in towards the body. Remember, get any props that help situate you with this. And bringing the earth element to cushion your joint, and you want it to feel good. You can leave the leg on the inside of the right, or it may want to try to cross over the right leg. And then you'll take the right arm to hug the left leg in, and notice how you're getting this. If you're not too tight here, which if you are, this is going to be great for it. You might even be able to lift the leg if you aren't and feel the opening in the outer hip. And then left arm's going to guide, I'm going to show from the side here, guide back behind you, and careful to, I'm not really weighting it. It's just a presence so that you lengthen through the spine. Pelvic floor to heart left. Feel the fluidity of the breath, our ujjayis, the deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, big exhale. For those of you, if this is going well, you may even try bending the right leg. And I'll show from the front, looking like this. It's a lot more intense, but remember, I want you to have this for your toolkit. It might not be for you. It might be for you to share with somebody else. It might be for you later on in life. Know that it's there. And then we're going to do a counter twist. So the right leg's either bent or straightened. I'm showing it bent now. And we come back through neutral and twist the other way. And I'll just show that, what it could look like. So we see both sides of the leaf. And from our pelvic floor to our heart, we're twisting to the right. Similar legs now, really. And then back through center. Awesome. Take those legs out in front. I think a windshield wiper here will feel good. The hands can support behind you. And then shift those legs side to side. And remember, subtle is good. So it may just be this. Mine are a little sensitive, to be honest. When I'm going like this, it's like, woo, that's almost going past an edge. So just saying that so that you know to check in with your edge. And then we'll come back to neutral. And we'll try that on the other side. Remember, you may want props to support the joint. And we'll bring the right knee in. Maybe it stays here. You can do the twist like this. I like to show from the maybe less challenging to more challenging, and there's no judgment. Every day is different, and I do all of them. And not all of the challenging ones. I do way more not challenging for me, just to say. And I bring maybe, if you want a little more challenging, right leg over the left. Left arm hugging in. Right arm back behind you. Just gently supporting. You can even make a fist to keep the forearm flush. And you don't have to push hard, but it's there to support the spine lift. Inhale. Exhale. Maybe you can open pelvic floor to heart right a little bit more. This is great for our focus of hip and low back. Awesome. Soften the face, the tongue, the jaw. Be aware of the pelvis and the low back. And maybe if you did it on the other side, you try left leg bending towards the hip. Same pose. Just wanted to show it for you in case you were doing that. And then we'll come back through center. Let's see the other side of the leaf. The opposite arm can try to hug in, and we'll open pelvic floor to heart left. Expand the ribs and the chest. Your ujjayi breaths are so full and expansive. Awesome. Back through center. Maybe those wide windshield wipers. Notice the femur and the pelvis. Just how is it feeling? Tighter, looser, just more like you can connect to it, and whatever you're feeling, be aware of that. We're going to keep going with this sequence. Let's try our legs out in a V and take a moment. It may feel really good to prop up the sit bones with something. And no, there's no limit. You can get 3 pillows. It might be a little, like you have to find your balance, but it does not matter how many things you put there. You want it to feel comfortable so that you're feeling the hips and the backs of the legs, not like you're feeling pain in the low back or anywhere. We're just kind of hanging out a moment to feel this. We're going to switch it up before we do a full straddle pose. So maybe bring the legs in a little closer and then start with which one? Let's start with the right leg coming in. And you may want to prop up this leg. I'm just going to show. If I don't show, then I feel like people won't feel like they could do it. And just want you to know you can. So you could support the knee or the hip in any way that feels good. And then you may shift the pelvis and your heart in alignment with the left leg. And you may want props here. I have bolsters and pillows. I'm not showing that, but bring them in. You may want to fold and support the chest towards the left leg. It may also just look like this. It's okay to round in the upper back lastly, but we really want to lengthen from the pelvis, our focus, from the low back to where it connects to our pelvic bowl. And then let the self go. Inhale, begin to guide yourself back up. And if for any reason this isn't resonating, just try, you can sit up and work on the bandhas and the breath and just find your engagement seated. Maybe you feel the stretch this way. Totally possible. And that's awesome. Does not matter. So straddle again. We're just looking for our each sensation points. I know it can be challenging when I'm leading it this way and showing things, but please feel welcome to just honor your form always. And then with the strength of the leg and the core, bring your left leg in. It may look like that. It may not be in towards the pelvis. Maybe you situate pelvis and heart with the right leg and we take our bow towards the right. If it feels good, pause wherever you're feeling an opening and that you can find those full Ujjayi fluid breaths. Sending space wherever you may need it. So you see how you can pulse with the rhythm of the breath, like we've been doing since the beginning. We can begin to come on out of that. We'll try a full straddle here. We've been doing this intermittently. Maybe now you lift the heart. You can bring the arms back behind you and stay here if that feels better. Or you can begin to try a fold in. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's a little more. Spend a few fluid Ujjayi breaths wherever feels good, please. Noticing any sensations. Come back to the sit bones, the pelvis, with the ribs over the pelvis, with the head over the ribs. We're gonna get on out of this. We're gonna do a standing fold and then a down on the mat fold. And I wanna do the standing one first because it's the fold down on the mat. I'm just gonna show. This is probably one of the most challenging poses. So we really don't want to just go. We've been doing similar things, but I think it'd be helpful to come up. So find a nice gentle way to maybe come up through a squat. I like to do this, or maybe help your hands guide you to come on up. Whew. And I'm going to show, because I'm doing a little bit more of like a restorative class. Wall is a prop that you can use. Excuse me, lamp. And the wall is a prop that you can use to push your sit bones, the area we've been being aware of this whole time. Bend the knees and then fold from that. So we're usually just doing it here, right? And that's fine. We bend the knees, the low belly supported by the thighs. Let the upper body just go. But it could be nice to have this support here to lean in, bend the knees, and let go. And as long as this is feeling good, I'm going to say 5 to 10 more breath cycles. Really feel this extension from the tail to the crown that you're creating through gravity. The hands can hang out or grab elbows or go behind the head. Maybe a few more breath rhythms. This is feeling great for me. I hope you're getting this benefit from all the beautiful twisting and opening and hip and low back work we did. We're letting it now just fully lengthen to create space for all of those new pathways that we created. So probably wrapping that up, that's a while there. Slowly come on back up. And if you're at a wall, you may just want to hang out there. Press your shoulders into the wall. Feel your head there and just kind of take that support. It's just like when we're on the earth, right? When we talk about flattening the shoulder blades, feel the low ribs press against the earth. Try to see if you could feel that here, the support behind you. Awesome. And then we're going to come down for a fold and we're going to maybe do legs up the wall if you'd like. So you may want to keep your wall space cleared. And then I'm not going to really move because I'm going to show on the wall in a second. If you want to try a fold, I'm just going to say maybe props are going to feel good underneath the knees and the hips. And you may try the really challenging pose if you want, as long as it's no pain. And we extend our legs, and from our pelvic floor and low back, we begin to release and let go upper body over lower body. Now, it might be good to have bolsters, pillows in between to support. Feel the fluidity of the breath. We're going to counter this with fish pose, Matsyendrasana. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, but anyway, Sanskrit word for fish pose. So we're going to stay as we are, like with the legs out, and you'll point the toes and take the arms back behind you for more intense, sorry, I'm all kerfunkled. For more intense, you may take the arms bent, and we're lifting the abdomen, tone the legs, point the toes, engage the core to lift your abdomen, lift your heart, let the head go maybe. So if there's any sensation that doesn't feel good, back off and just come back to this upright like this. And that'll be great. Open the whole front of the body. We have 5 minutes left. So we're going to get to, I think because of our focus on pelvis and low back, we'll do legs up the wall offering, or you can start to make your way to a Shavasana, which is just corpse pose, letting the limbs go out, supported to the earth. I'm going to show legs up the wall. I'm going to turn this light off that I see is left on. Whoops. And taking your pelvis as close to the wall as feels good. There might be a big gap between the pelvis and wall, that's okay. Remember, you can also just come with your limbs and arms spread out, kind of like a star pose, Shavasana. If you want to do the lymph circulation one more time, you can do a few rounds of inhales and exhales with the toes pointing and flexing. You can do the toes out, the toes in. Circles with the feet. Both directions. This is just like a little mini one. Maybe knee pumps. And then maybe you're out to the side and back. And then we rest, just observing the breath, riding the wave of the breath from the tailbone to the head. If you have more time to offer a silent reflection practice, please just tune me out and continue. This is the most important part. We do all of what we did literally for this time right now. So it's so important for us. If you're going to come down, you can just windmill the legs to the side, fetal position, and kindly get your way up to seated position. Maybe feel the pelvic hips and just see how they are. Feel the low back and just see, hey, we focused on you. How are you feeling? Did you like it, or was there too much focus, or not enough, or perfect? And then let's just close on a group prayer. So with just silence of offering gratitude and thankfulness to anything you feel thankful for. 3 Ujjayi breaths. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing. Take care and have a beautiful day. See you next week.